So, did y'all see, this is a pretty disappointing story for this week. Nate Parker, now that he's, coming into the mainstream, he's got all this money from Fox Searchlight, people are digging into his past. And this has been public record for a long time. It's been on his Wikipedia page, but now people are asking questions about this rape case from 1999, early 2000s. Basically, this girl was at his apartment and she was, I guess, trying to flirt with him, and then they went back into the room and he was having sex with, okay. I don't even know how to really describe it because she's always maintained that she was unconscious, doesn't remember what happened. Nate is, in his words, having sex with her, in her words, being raped, and he gestures for his friends to come in. One friend does come in, one other guy looks at the situation, is like, nah, I'm out, and leaves. So the woman, after a couple of weeks, she files a report with the school, with the police. Nothing really happens. They're just kicked off the wrestling team. They're still allowed to go to school. And Nate and his friend begin this campaign to assassinate this girl's character. They have a private investigator showing her picture around the school. They're following her at her dorm, outside of her classes. And she eventually dropped out of school. And she ultimately sued the university because they didn't take any disciplinary action against Nate and his friend. And she got $17,000. Then fast forward to 2012, and we learned her brother came forward recently and said that she took her own life after she had a child and everything. He said, this was a turning point for her in her life, and she just never was able to get over it. So Nate still maintains that it was consensual, but he did say that, even though he was legally acquitted, morally, he knows as a man of faith, he shouldn't have never have put himself in this position. And he just recently found out that this woman took her own life as well. Mm-hmm. So, what do you guys think about the situation? Do you still feel like you can support the birth of a nation because of it? Does it change anything for you?
I don't think I'll be supporting the birth of a nation just because, even if this was consensual sex, I don't understand why you need to be intimidating and basically harassing someone on campus because of this situation. I just think it was a really low blow. And then in his Hollywood Reporter interview, he's saying, it was just 17 years ago. I didn't like how he kept repeating that as though it was, I just stepped on her toe, So he was making too much light of it now because he has a wife and daughters. And I don't know, just his apology felt insincere, and I didn't rock with it.
Mm-hmm. For me, I feel conflicted in a lot of ways. Because I do think Birth of a Nation is a very important movie, and I feel like if I see it, I don't necessarily look at it as supporting Nate Parker. I want to see that story told, and more stories like that told. However, and I don't know, part of me feels like it is unfortunate that this is coming out at this time, because it's definitely overshadowing the movie. But at the same time, I don't think that there's an agenda against black men, which a lot of people are coming out to say. I think that Nate Parker wasn't on white people's radar before now,
exactly.
And so now that he is, I think Variety was just being journalists, and they're like, this is something huge in your past, and we're going to talk about it. And I'm kind of shocked he did a 2-hour discussion about it to really say nothing, and with that, so that I wasn't really with him on that. And initially, my thoughts were I've known boys who've been in situations like that, and they were accused of rape, and that wasn't the case. And so I felt I wasn't fully ready, I guess, to just say, they raped her. But after reading the transcripts and things like that, there was extreme wrongdoing in some kind of way. If you don't want to say rape, whatever, there was extremely heinous things done. But what I wonder is it almost once a rapist, always a rapist, kind of thing? Just because it was 17 years ago doesn't mean, we don't talk about it or hold you accountable.
Right.
But I also don't know, how long you have to atone for that and what kind of atonement you can do for that, because it's just a hard thing to me, to think about. So I look at him differently in a way, but I don't know. If this was Beyond the Lights, no, I'm not gonna go see you, in a romantic thing. The Birth of a Nation, to me, I feel like is an important story that I want to see. So I may still see that, but I don't know how I feel about him generally.
So I never know how to answer any of this, but I just think that in reference to his quote-unquote apology, because he never really apologized, and I think that he should have apologized. Granted, he kept bringing up the point that he was found not guilty of what he did. And I think in the way that he's making his statements, he's trying to say, because he believes that it was consensual, and I literally read a lot of comments from people who were like, I went to school at that time, and I think how people defined rape wasn't as clear cut. It was kind of like, whether you're not, you're drunk, if you're like, there's a difference between being like blacked out drunk and being like, we're drunk and I'm agreeing to go back to your house or whatever. For some reason, people felt like, well, I think that is you knowing what's going on. And so, in a way, I think he felt like at that time he didn't do anything wrong. So now it's 2016, we define rape so clear that it's like he knows he did something wrong. Even if he didn't per se rape her, he allowed other people to do that to her. He's like, it's very complicated. It's like, well, in the court of public opinion, yeah, it's really, what he did was really fucked up. And I don't know how you go forward in life, with it, but at the same time, what do we say anymore about what happens in court? If you're found not guilty, but we still get to call you a rapist.
I was wondering why I was feeling like so anxious this morning, and it's because of this story. Like yesterday, reading the details, reading the transcript, reading his conversation with the girl afterward, it just made me feel sick to my stomach. Like my mouth was dry, stomach was upset. I was like, eyes were watering up. I just really can't. It makes me so sad and so disappointed. And my thing is, I don't know how long you should atone for something after you've done it, and it sucks to be defined by the worst thing you've ever done in your life. But also, I feel like there is no time limit for karma, and I feel like if you do something, you don't get to choose when it comes back to you. You don't get to choose. Oh, I would prefer it to come back to me at the beginning of my career so people can forget about it when I write and direct and star in my own movie. Like karma doesn't work like that. So this now coming to the forefront is just what it is. Like that's just how life works. You don't get to choose when you have to answer for something.
Yeah. And
I just don't, I personally won't be seeing the movie because I just can't even, I just can't even. To me, when I read what her brother said, like letting the people decide whether they want to support this type of thing or not, it's just like, to me, Nate Parker is no different. And yesterday I got into it with a couple of black men who were like, well, do y'all talk about Marv Albert, or do y'all talk about Roman Polanski or whatever? I'm like, I don't care about them white men. I care about Nate Parker, whose movies I've supported, whose movies I've watched, whose talent I believed in. Right. And I still believe in his talent, but I won't be seeing this particular movie. And I don't know if that means I'm not going to be supporting anything he does in the future, but like, I'm a woman. And I know women who've been raped, who've been in those situations, and they don't get over it. Right. You know what I'm saying? So 17 years doesn't mean anything when you don't get over it ever. Right. And I can't imagine what that woman was going through, seeing Nate's career go from here to here, here. And you seen him on screen, and everyone's like, oh, he's so this and he's so that. And he violated you and invited other people to come and violate you. It just makes me so like frantic. It just makes me so wired. I can't really even look at him right now. So I'm not going to be seeing that movie. And the fact that the movie starts off with the rape scene of Nat Turner's wife, I'm just like, I'm not with really any of it. So I won't be seeing it.